Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome again to another review experience from CBRC. Okay, so kumusta po ang pagre-review natin? Okay lang ba? Okay lang ba yung pagre-review na ginagawa natin? So, my encouragement is kailangan bigyan natin ng pansin ang pagre-review. Okay, huwag kang magpatumpik-tumpik, huwag kang magsayang ng oras. Tatandaan natin yung sinabi ni Aristotle na kaya kulang tayo ng knowledge, kaya kulang tayo ng kaalaman because we are preoccupied by the bodily needs. I mean, Socrates pala yung nagsabi noon. Okay, sabi ni Socrates, we are preoccupied by bodily needs. That's why kulang tayo sa kaalaman, kulang tayo sa knowledge. So kailangan bigyan natin ng time talaga yung pagre-review. Okay? Hindi naman ibig sabihin na pabayaan mo na yung bodily needs mo kasi importante din naman yan. Kasi according kay Abraham Maslow, our physiological needs should be given the highest priority. Okay? So kailangan matulog ka, magpahinga ka, kumain ka ng masarap. Kailangan alagaan din natin ng ating sarili kasi kapag hindi mo rin inalagaan sarili mo, of course, magkakasakit ka rin. Kapag puro review ka ng review, no, napabayaan mo na yung health mo, edi pagdating ng exam, baka magkasakit ka at hindi ka rin makakapag-exam. So kailangan alagaan mo rin yung sarili mo. Kailangan magbigay ka rin ng oras pag-review. Balance. Dapat balance. Dapat meron tayong golden mean. Okay? Balance dapat lahat ng ginagawa natin. Meron kang oras na binibigay sa pagre-review, meron kang oras na binibigay para matulog o kaya para magpahinga. Okay? So wag mo rin masyadong i-pressure yung sarili mo. Okay? So kailangan mag-relax din, magpahinga din para sa ganun mas maging effective yung pagre-review natin. Okay? So ayun na nga, natakal natin yung tungkol sa philosophical self during ancient and medieval period. And doon sa topic na yon ay na-discuss natin yung iba't ibang mga philosophers during the ancient and medieval period tulad nga ni Plato, Socrates at Aristotle. At doon sa mga hindi nakapanood po ng video na yon ay ilalagay ko na lamang po sa description box yung link para mapanood din po ninyo. Okay? And now let's proceed to the philosophical self in modern and contemporary philosophers. So ito nga yung mnemonics na tatandaan natin. Lagi tayong may mnemonics na ginagamit. Okay, ano ba yung mnemonics na ginamit natin sa philosophical self during ancient and medieval? Paasa. Okay, P for Plato, A for Aquinas, A for Agustin, S for Socrates, and A for Aristotle. Ngayon naman, ano ba tong MPhi Junior G? Okay, bago tayo pumunta dyan, magkakaroon nga muna tayo ng drill. Okay, para sa ganun is ma-refresh po, ma-review po tayo doon sa previous na pinag-aralan natin, sa previous na diniscuss natin. Okay, so now let's move on. Okay, so ang isasagot nyo lamang po dito ay yung tungkol sa tripartite soul ni Plato at yung three parts of soul ni Aristotle. So ano yung kay Plato? Yung tripartite soul ni Plato, we have the rational, we have the spirited, and the appetitive. Okay, kay Aristotle naman, the three parts of soul are rational, pangalawa yung sentient, at pangatlo is yung vegetative. Okay, so yun lamang po yung isasagot natin dito. So okay, the first question, Martin, a philosopher, is reading a book on ethics and reflects deeply on nature of justice. Considering various ethical theories and their implications for human behavior, which part of Martin's soul is most actively engaged in this reflection? Okay, so mamimili lamang po tayo. Is it rational, spirited, or appetitive? So kumuha po kayo ng paper and pencil niyo dyan at try nyo pong sumagot, no? Kung makakasagot po kayo. So rational, spirited, or appetitive? So I'm giving you 5 seconds to answer. Okay, so the correct answer here is rational soul. Okay, bakit siya rational soul? Ano ba yung clue word natin dito? Sabi niya, si Martin kasi, siya ay isang philosopher and he is reading a book on ethics and nagre-reflect siya. Reflects deeply on nature of justice. Ayan, considering various ethical theories and their implications for human behavior. So saan ba nagpapatungkol yan kapag patungkol sa thinking, patungkol sa cognitive, patungkol sa logic, okay, the logical side of our soul, that is the rational soul, okay? So that is the rational soul. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. So the next question is this one. During a nature hike, you come across a dog that seems excited and begins wagging its tail when it notices a nearby squirrel. It is responding to external stimuli with visible pleasure and movement. Okay, which part of the soul is responsible for the dog's action? Okay, mamimili lamang kayo kung ito ba ay sentient, vegetative, or rational. Okay, I'm giving you 5 seconds to answer. All right, the correct answer here is sentient soul. Okay, so sentient soul, patungkol po ito sa mga animals, di ba? Kung matatandaan ninyo yung three parts of soul according to Aristotle, we have the rational soul, the sentient soul, and the vegetative soul. Vegetative soul, patungkol yun sa mga plants. Pag the sentient soul, patungkol naman to sa mga animals. Animals, they have the capability to move, okay, and also to sense. Okay, and to grow and to reproduce. So dito, ang tinatanong kasi dito, which part of soul is responsible for the dog's actions? Okay, so this is about sentient soul because the dog is sensing. Okay, nakakaramdam yung aso. Sabi niya, you come across a dog that seems excited. Okay, the dog is excited and begins wagging his tail when it notices a nearby squirrel. So it is responding to external stimuli with visible pleasure and movement. Ayan, nabanggit po yung movement. Of course, ang mga animals, they have the capability to move. Okay, mobility. So the correct answer here is sentient soul. Okay, now, okay, let's move on to the next question. So Alice is observing a tree in her backyard. She notices that the tree grows, absorbs nutrients, and produces fruit every year, but it does not show any signs of feeling of thinking. Based on Aristotle's theory of the soul, which aspect of the soul is active in the tree's processes? So pinag-uusapan naman dito yung yung trees. Okay, of course, alam na natin yung kung anong sagot dito. Bakit? Of course, pagpatungkol sa halaman, pagpatungkol sa plants, pagpatungkol sa trees, yan po ay vegetative soul. Okay, vegetative soul. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Okay, so this is the question. Elena is attending a lecture on moral philosophy where she actively debates different positions on free will and determinism with her classmates. During the debate, Elena shows the ability to think critically, understand complex concepts, and draw conclusions based on logic. What aspect of Elena's soul is most active during this intellectual activity? Okay, the question is very easy. Nandiyan na po yung sagot, no? Kapag patungkol sa pag-iisip. When you are thinking or when it comes to logical thinking, logical things, this is, of course, the rational soul. Okay. Okay. So now let's move on to the next question. So now let's read. Which philosopher believed that the self is primarily an intellectual being that must seek knowledge through dialectical reasoning and self-examination, where the ultimate aim is self-understanding and moral virtue? Okay, so sino sa kanila yung philosopher na naniniwala na yung self daw is primarily an intellectual being, ibig sabihin nag-iisip. At siya ay nagsisik ng karunungan sa pamamagitan ng mga tinatawag nating dialectical reasoning. Okay, dialectical reasoning and also self-examination. Sino ba sa kanila yung nagsabi na the unexamined life is not worth living? Okay? Kung alam nyo kung sino yon, masasagot nyo yung tanong na ito. Alright. An unexamined life is not worth living. Sino yan? Is it Plato? Is it Aristotle? Is it Socrates? Is it Aquinas? Or is it Augustine? Okay, ang tamang sagot dyan, of course, ay si, okay, let's reveal the answer. Si Socrates po yan. Okay, di ba si Socrates, sabi niya, an unexamined life is not worth living. Si Socrates din yung Q&A primer. Si Socrates din yung nagsabi ng know thyself. Okay, so yan, Socrates po yan. So now let's move on to the next question. Si Aquinas naman, ano yung tatandaan natin kay Aquinas? Okay, si Aquinas, siya po yung gumawa ng natural law ethics. Okay, the father of natural law ethics. Si Agustin naman, we can know ourselves if we know God. Okay, si Aquinas, sabi niya, you need reasons to believe in God. Si Agustin, sabi niya, you don't have, you don't need to have reasons. You just need to have faith. Okay, faith in the existence of God. That is Augustine. Reasons in the existence of God, that is Aquinas. Socrates, know thyself, an unexamined life is not worth living. Okay? Si Aristotle naman, tripartite or the three parts of soul, we have the vegetative, sentient, and the rational. Okay, si Aristotle din, siya yung virtue ethics, the father of virtue ethics. Siya din yung nagsabi ng golden mean. Okay, golden mean means moderation. Si Plato naman, okay, yung tatanda natin kay Plato, yung three parts of soul, we have the rational, appetitive, and the spirited soul. Okay, so now let's move on to the next question. Which philosopher focused on the notion of inner conflict within the self, particularly between the flesh and spirit, and saw the self journey as one of redemption and spiritual transformation through God's grace? Okay, so sabi niya dito, sinong philosopher ito? Yung sabi niya na ang sarili daw natin, it's like a journey as one of redemption and spiritual transformation through God's grace. Kailangan merong transformation sa pamamagitan ng habag ng Diyos. Okay, dalawa lang yung pwede nating pagpilian dyan, di ba? Is it Aquinas or Augustine? So the correct answer here is Augustine. Okay, so that is letter E. Sabi niya, the self journey is one of redemption and spiritual transformation through God's grace. Nakafocus yan sa inner notion, okay? Conflict within the self. Okay, that is Saint Augustine. All right, now let's move on to the next question. So the next question is, okay, this one. Which philosopher argued that the self is fundamentally rational and that the highest purpose of the self is to achieve union with God through reason and divine order, seeing human beings as rational creatures created in the image of God? Okay, sino yung nagsabi niyan? That we are created in the image and in the likeness of God. Okay, dalawa lang ulit yung pagpipilian natin. Sino ba yung more on religious sa limang yan? Tatanggalin na natin sila Plato, Aristotle at Socrates, okay? Kasi yung mga dalawang nakarelate po sa religious ay si Aquinas at si Augustine, okay, or sa God. So, sino yung nagsabi that seeing human beings as rational creatures created in the image of God, okay? And we will achieve the highest purpose of the self if we have union with God. And, through divine, yung kailangan daw magkaroon tayo ng kabanalan, kailangan magkaroon tayo ng maayos na pamumuhay. Sino yung philosopher na nagsabi niya? That is Aquinas, okay? Si Saint Aquinas. Okay, next, let's move on to the next question. Okay, so this is the next question. Which philosopher emphasized that the self is a soul that exists before birth and continues to exist after death, with knowledge being recollected from past lives, the body acting merely as temporary vessel? Sino yung philosopher na yan? Nasabi niya, kapag ang tao ay namatay, ang kaluluwa o ang soul ay hihiwalay sa katawan. And sabi niya, continue to exist after death, with knowledge being recollected from the past lives. Sino yung nagsabi niyan? Parang reincarnation, no? Yung tema nitong question na to. So, sino yung philosopher na yan na nagsabi niyan? That is si Plato, di ba? Si Plato sabi niya that the self is composed of immortal soul and a mortal perishable body. Yung immortal soul na yon, sabi niya kapag namatay ang tao, ang kaluluwa ay hihiwalay sa katawan at yung soul ay mapupunta sa spirit world or sa immortal world. Okay, that is Plato. Okay, so now let's move on to the next question. So ilan na yung correct answer ninyo? Perfect pa ba? Or may mali na? Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Which philosopher argued that the self is a composite of both the rational and irrational parts of the soul, with the rational part seeking truth and the irrational part relating to the bodily desires, emotions, ultimately aiming for harmony and virtue? Okay. So, meron po tayong isang word lang dyan na kailangang tignan. Pag nakita mo yung virtue and also the harmony, alam mo na kung sino yung philosopher na nagsabi niyan. Okay? That is letter B. Okay? That is Aristotle. Okay? So, ayun. Okay, so Aristotle, siya po yung nagsabi doon. Now, let's move on. Dito na po tayo sa philosophical self during modern and contemporary period. So these are the philosophers. Okay, so we have Maurice Merleau-Ponty, Paul Churchland, Immanuel Kant, John Locke, René Descartes, and Gilbert Ryle. Okay, sino-sino nga ba itong mga to? Okay, ating tignan, ating pag-aralan kung sino-sino itong mga philosophers na ito. Okay, so unahin nga natin si Maurice. Okay, Maurice Merleau-Ponty. Ano nga ba yung sinabi ni Maurice Merleau-Ponty about the self? Sabi niya, the self is an inextricable union between mind and body. Okay, what do you mean by the word inextricable? When we say inextricable, inseparable, you cannot separate the body and the mind. Hindi mo pwedeng paghiwalayin ang body and mind. Okay, it should not be separated. And sabi din niya, siya din yung nagsabi ng being in the world. Okay, ano ba ibig sabihin ng being in the world? Ang tao ay dapat mayroong maayos na samahan sa nature, sa world na kanyang kinabibilangan. So there must be a harmony between the self and the world na kung saan siya nag-exist. Why? Because we are in the world, okay? This world is part of us and it is part of ourselves. So that's why we need to have a harmony or harmonious relationship with the world that we belong, that we live in. So being in the world, tatandaan natin, that is Maurice Merleau-Ponty. And sabi niya, the self is an inextricable union, okay, between mind and body. All right? And now let's move on to the next page. Okay, sabi din ni Maurice Merleau-Ponty, learning as phenomenon. So we have a direct engagement in the world and it is projected by our experiences. Okay, meron tayong direktang interaction sa mundo. no? At ito ay nararamdaman, ito ay nararanasan natin sa pamamagitan ng ating mga senses. It is projected by our experiences. Okay, so that is according to Maurice Merleau-Ponty. Now, let's move on to the next page. Okay, punta naman tayo sa susunod na philosopher. Yan ay si, okay, naulit. Yan ay si Paul Churchland. Okay, ano naman yung sinabi ni Paul Churchland patungkol sa self? Okay, tignan nga natin. Sabi niya, Paul Churchland adheres to eliminative materialism. What is eliminative materialism? Eliminative materialism is the belief that nothing except matter exists. So, walang ibang nag-exist kundi yung matter. Ano ba yung matter? It's about the material things. Okay? Nothing except matter exists. Pag sinabi nating matter, that's the physical thing. According to him, walang soul. Okay? Hindi nag-exist ang soul. Hindi naman totoo yung soul, sabi ni Paul Churchland. Walang multo. No? Actually, he believed in the idea of eliminative materialism. Okay? And sabi pa niya, let's now check. Decision-making and moral behavior are biological phenomena. Ano ibig sabihin niya? Ng utak at katawan, okay, ang may malaking papel sa paggawa ng mga desisyon natin. Okay? Kung paano natin binibigyan ng kahulugan ang tama o mali, yan ay base sa ating utak. Dahil yan sa ating utak. Okay, the decision making and the moral behavior are biological phenomena. Okay, ang ating utak at ang ating katawan ay mayroong malaking papel na ginagampanan sa paggawa ng ating mga desisyon according kay Paul Churchland. Okay, next, let's now move on to the next statement. Okay. Anyway, halimbawa nito, no, kapag tayo ay gumagawa ng desisyon, ang utak natin ang nagpoproseso ng mga information, ng emotion, ng mga experiences at nagbibigay ng signals, no, sa ating katawan tungkol sa kung ano ba yung nararapat na gawin. So yun po yung idea ng sinabi niya that decision making and moral phenomena or moral behavior are biological phenomena. Okay? When we are making decisions, ang utak ang number one na nagpa-process, the brain. Okay? Ang utak ang nagpo-proseso ng mga impormasyon, ng mga emosyon, karanasan, no? At nagbibigay yan ng signal sa ating katawan. Okay? Yung utak ang nagbibigay ng signal sa ating katawan kung ano yung nararapat nating gawin. So, decision making and moral behavior are biological phenomena according to Paul Churchland. At sabi din niya, the physical brain, not the imaginary mind, gives us the sense of self. Ano ibig sabihin yan? Ito daw talaga yung totoong essence ng self, yung utak daw ng tao. Yan talaga ang nagbibigay ng sense of self kasi the mind is just an imaginary thing. The mind does not exist. Okay, the concept of mind, according kay Paul Churchland, ay hindi yan nag-exist. Ang totoong essence talaga ng self or ng sarili natin ay ang utak, the brain, the physical brain. Okay? And, according to Plato and Aristotle, mind exists, no? But to Paul Churchland, hindi ito nag-exist. Ang totoong nag-exist daw ay ang brain, okay, yung literal na utak. Okay? Now, and that's the idea of eliminative materialism. Now, let's move on to the next page. So, sabi pa ni Paul Churchland, no? He believed that something can be seen, felt, heard, touched, or taste, then that exists. Okay. Kapag hindi mo nakita, kapag hindi mo naramdaman, kapag hindi mo natikman, hindi siya nag-exist. Okay, so according to Paul Churchland, to see is to believe. To taste is to believe. And sabi pa niya, there is nothing than sensory experience. Okay, importante kasi kay Churchland na dapat nakikita niya eh. Dapat nakahawakan niya para masabi niya na totoo yung isang bagay. Para masabi nating nag-i-exist ang isang bagay, dapat tangible. Ano ibig sabihin ng tangible? Nakikita, nahahawakan, nararamdaman. There is nothing than a sensory experience, according to Paul Churchland. Okay, next, let's now move on. All right. So, ano pa yung sabi ni Paul Churchland? Okay, let's take a look at the next page. So, sabi niya dito, according to him, unchanging soul does not exist because it cannot be experienced by senses. Okay, hindi naniniwala si Paul sa soul kasi naman, okay, hindi, tawag dito, hindi daw natin ito na-experience. Hindi na-experience ng senses natin yung soul. Soul does not exist because it cannot be experienced by senses. Okay? Hindi natin nakikita, hindi natin nararamdaman. So para sa kanya, imaginary lang. Ito, imaginary lang. So they are not really, they don't really exist, according to Paul Churchland. To see is to believe. So the mind or the idea of mind and soul is not consonant to the physical changes. For him, these two, the soul and the mind, are just imaginary. Okay, so that is the idea of eliminative materialism. The true essence of self is the brain. It's not the mind and it's not the soul. Okay? Ang utak ang nagbibigay ng signal sa katawan kung ano yung gagawin nito. Okay, that is according to Paul Churchland. Now, let's move on. Okay, sino naman itong next na philosopher na to? This is Immanuel Kant. Okay, so we have Immanuel Kant. Sino naman si Immanuel Kant? Ano naman yung naiambag niya pagdating sa understanding the self? Sabi niya, human person has an inner and outer self. Okay, sabi ni Immanuel Kant, meron daw tayong inner self and meron din tayong outer self. Okay, so inner self, ito yung ating mga iniisip. Okay, that is the inner self. Ito yung ating mga nararamdaman. Ito yung ating mga pinaniniwalaan. Ito ang ating mga personal na desisyon, yung mga dahilan ng ating mga aksyon. Yun yung inner self natin. At kapag pinag-uusapan naman natin yung outer self, okay, ito naman yung mga ginagawa natin at kung paano tayo kumikilos sa iba. Tulad ng yung kilos, yung gawa na ginagawa natin, that is the outer self, and also yung pananalita natin. Okay, and Immanuel Kant also believed on the categorical imperative. Okay, ano nga ba yung categorical imperative? Categorical imperative is a formulation by which we can apply our human reason to determine the right thing. Ito yung isang prinsipyo na ginawa ni Immanuel Kant upang matulungan tayong magdesisyon kung ano ang tama. Okay, ang ibig sabihin nito, gumawa ka ng bagay na kaya mong ipagawa sa lahat ng tao. Okay, ano ba yung halimbawa ng categorical imperative? Gumawa ka ng isang bagay na kaya mong ipagawa sa lahat ng tao. Sa madaling salita, no, bago ka gumawa ng isang aksyon, tanungin mo muna sa sarili mo, kung lahat ng tao ay gagawin ito, magiging tama ba? Okay? Kung oo ang sagot, for example, lahat ng tao ginawa yung isang bagay na yon at naging tama at tama, ibig sabihin, tama yung aksyon o bagay na yon na gagawin mo. Okay? So ang categorical imperative ay nagsasabi sa atin kung paano dapat maging tapat at makatarungan sa ating mga aksyon. Kung paano maging tama. That is the formulation by which we can apply our human reason to determine the right thing. Kapag ginawa ng nakararami, no, yung isang action na yun, ibig sabihin tama yun. Kung ginawa ng nakararami at tama, so that is the idea of empirical or categorical imperative. Okay, next, let's now move on. So Immanuel Kant replaced religion with reason. Okay, so si Immanuel Kant, sabi niya, Kant would deny that a morally good person has to be a religious person, though he argues that morality provides reasons or consciousness for being religious. Okay, si Kant ay nagsabi na, sabi niya, hindi kailangan ng isang tao na maging religyoso upang maging moral. Ibig sabihin, pwede kang maging mabuting tao kahit na hindi ka religyoso. Pero ayon kay Immanuel Kant, may kinalaman ang relihiyon sa moralidad. Ang relihiyon para sa kanya ay nagbibigay ng karagdagang mga dahilan o nagbibigay ito ng pananaw, no? Ng karagdagang dahilan, pananaw para mas makatarungan, para sa mas maging makatarungan at mas maging mabuting tao tayo, no? Para mas maging mabuti ang buhay ng isang tao. Ibig sabihin, hindi ito nagpapataas ng moralidad mismo. Ang relihiyon ay hindi nagpapataas ng moralidad ng tao, pero tumutulong itong magbigay ng mga karagdagang paliwanag o inspirasyon upang magpatuloy sa paggawa ng mabuti. Okay, sa madaling salita, hindi binabago ng relihiyon ang pagiging mabuti ng isang tao. Ngunit, maaari itong magbigay ng mga gabay na nagpapalawak sa ating pangunawa at nagpapahalaga sa moralidad. Okay? Now, let's move on to the next page. According to Immanuel Kant, mind is organizing principle. Okay? Ano ibig sabihin yan? Ang isip ng tao ay may kakayahang mag-organize ng mga karanasan, ng mga experiences. So, hindi natin basta-basta tinatanggap ang mga bagay na nakikita at nararamdaman ng ating isip. Sabi niya, the mind constructs reality. Okay, ang isip natin ang nag-aayos, okay, at nagbibigay ng kahulugan sa mga ito. So sa ganitong paraan, ang isip ang nagtatayo ng ating reality, ng realidad. Okay, the mind builds reality. The mind constructs reality. Okay, so ibig sabihin, ang ating pagkaunawa sa mundo ay nakadepende sa kung paano ito inaayos ng ating pag-iisip. So, kung paano natin naiintindihan yung mga bagay-bagay, yan ay dahil sa ating isip, dahil sa ating mind. Mind constructs reality. Mind builds reality. Okay? And the mind also organizes the experiences, ang nag-aayos ng mga karanasan natin. Hindi natin basta-basta tinatanggap yung mga bagay na nakikita at nararamdaman natin. Okay? Next, let's now move on. Okay, so Immanuel Kant also is the father of deontology. Okay, tinawag si Immanuel Kant bilang father of deontology ng isang ethical theory. Okay, deontology patungkol kasi ito sa duty, no? Naka-focus ito sa duty o tungkulin. Okay, ayon kay Immanuel Kant, ang moralidad o ang morality ay hindi batay sa mga resulta ng ating mga ginagawa o sa ating mga gawain, kundi sa mga prinsipyo at tungkuling sinusunod natin. Okay, ano nga ba yung mga tungkulin? Ano nga ba yung mga goals? Ano ba yung mga principles na sinusunod mo? So the morality is based on the principles that we follow. Okay? So ang deontology, mula ito sa salitang Griego na Dion. Okay, so deontology comes from the Greek word dion, which means duty, okay, nangangahulugang tungkulin, at logos na nangangahulugang pag-aaral. Okay, kaya sa simpleng paliwanag, sinasabi ng deontology na ang aksyon ay tama o mali batay sa kung ito ay tumutupad sa moral na tungkulin. Okay, hindi batay sa mga kahihinatnan, hindi batay sa mga epekto or mga rules or mga result or mga rewards, kundi ito ay nakabatay sa tungkulin because it is your duty to do this. Halimbawa, no, isipin mo may nakita kang tao na nahulog at nasugatan sa kalsada. Sa teorya or sa konsepto ng deontology, okay, ang tungkulin mo bilang tao ay tulungan siya, di ba? Kahit wala itong epekto sa iyo. Okay, kahit wala kang reward na makuha. Halimbawa, hindi ka makikinabang mula sa pagtulong mo doon sa taong yon. Wala kang mapapala, wala kang reward na makukuha. So yung konsepto ng deontology, no, ginawa mo yung bagay na yun because that is your duty. Yun ay tungkulin mo. Okay? Gumawa ka ng isang bagay na tama because that is your duty. Okay? Tulad halimbawa ng pagkaantala sa iyong oras o pagkapagod. Okay? So ang pangunahing dahilan ng pagtulong ay hindi para makuha o makakuha ng magandang resulta. Okay? Kaya ka tumulong ay hindi para magkaroon ka ng reward, kundi dahil ito ay moral na tungkulin na dapat mong gawin dahil ito ang tama. Dahil ito ang nararapat. Okay, that is the idea of deontology. At ang deontology, merong kabaliktaran yan, yung teleology na tinatawag. Okay, teleology. So, pag deontology, tandaan natin, ginawa mo yung isang bagay dahil tungkulin mong gawin yon kahit walang kapalit na reward. Pero kapag teleology, naman, ginawa mo yung isang bagay dahil may rules. Okay, at may reward at consequences. Okay, Dion, ginawa mo just a sense of duty even without consequences. Now, let's move on to the next. Sabi niya dito, si Immanuel Kant siya din yung proponent ng transcendental idealism. Okay? Transcendental idealism. Ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng transcendental idealism? Ito yung patungkol sa philosophy din na nagsasabi na yung ating pagkaunawa sa world, sa mundo ay hindi direktang mula sa mga bagay, no, na tungkol sa kanilang tunay na anyo. Halimbawa, no, halimbawa nito, isipin mo, no, tinitignan mo yung isang puno. Yung tunay na puno, which is the nomenon, okay, na tinatawag, ay hindi mo talaga lubos na nakikita. Kundi ang iyong pagkaunawa doon sa punong yon, no, yung karanasan ng puno sa pamamagitan ng iyong mata, yung experiences mo doon sa punong yon, nakikita mo kasi sa pamamagitan ng mata mo, no, yung utak mo, yung sensasyon mo, that's the phenomenon. So ibig sabihin, iyon ang reality na nakikita mo. Pero hindi mo alam yung buong kalikasan ng puno na sa kanyang pinakamalalim na anyo. So that is the idea of transcendental idealism. Ang naiintindihan lang natin ay yung natural na nakikita ng ating mga mata at nararamdaman natin at nai-experience ng ating mga senses. Pero hindi talaga natin nakikilala, no, or nakikita, hindi natin alam yung buong kalikasan na nasa puno, yung pinakamalalim na anyo ng punong yun. Transcendental idealism. Okay? Now let's move on. Sabi niya, okay, ito yung statement ni Immanuel Kant. Act only according to that maxim, whereby you can, at the same time, will that it should become a universal law without contradiction. Okay. So sabi ni Immanuel Kant, no, bago ka gumawa ng anumang bagay, isipin mo kung okay lang ba? Okay lang ba? Kung lahat ng tao sa mundo ay gagawin din iyon. Kung magdudulot ito ng problema o kontradiksyon, hindi iyon tamang gawin. Okay? Mali iyon. Halimbawa, lahat ng tao no, gumawa ng isang bagay or bago ka gumawa ng isang bagay, dapat isaalang-alang mo muna yung kapakanan ng ibang tao. Kapag nagdudulot yon ng kontradiksyon, kapag nagdudulot ng problema yung aksyon na yon, ibig sabihin mali. Ibig sabihin hindi yon tamang gawin. Okay? Alright. So, ito ang tinatawag niyang categorical imperative. Okay? Kung saan kailangan mong kumilos sa paraang magiging tama ito bilang pangkalahatang batas na pwedeng sundin ng lahat, pwedeng sundin ng ibang tao. So that is the idea of categorical imperative. Okay? Now let's move on to the next page. Okay, punta naman tayo kay John Locke, tabula rasa. Okay? So si John Locke, siya yung may proponent ng tabula rasa. Okay, siya rin yung gumawa ng essay concerning human understanding. Okay, at birth, the human mind is tabula rasa, which means blank slate. Okay, so ibig sabihin, the mind of an infant is a blank slate, blanco, walang laman. As days goes by, nalalagyan ng laman yung utak ng bata sa pamamagitan ng experiences, social interaction niya sa kanyang parents, sa kanyang paligid, no? Yung blankong utak ng tao ay napupunan ngayon ng knowledge. Okay, so impressions during infancy serves as the foundation of the self. Okay, so ito sabi niya, impressions or experiences gained through senses during infancy serve as the foundation of the development of the self. Okay, ibig sabihin, yung mga karanasan, no, sa murang edad ang nagiging pundasyon ng pagkatao at pag-iisip ng isang tao. Okay, kung paano mo trinain o pinalaki yung bata, dadalhin niya yan hanggang sa lumaki siya. So yun ang magiging pundasyon niya sa kung ano ang pagkatao o personality niya balang araw. Ibig sabihin, napaka-importante, no, yung paghubog ng character sa bata sa kanyang murang edad. Edad 1 to 7 years old. Okay? 1 to 7 years old. Ito yung pinaka-crucial, ito yung pinaka-importante ng paghubog mo sa ugali, sa character o personality ng isang bata. Biblically speaking, totoo po yan. Sabi ng Bible, no, train up a child in a way he should go, and when he is old, he will never depart from it. Proverbs 22 verse 6, if I'm not mistaken. Turo mo sa bata yung daan na kanyang dapat lakaran upang sa kanyon kapag siya ay tumanda ay hindi niya makakalimutan iyon. Okay, so kung ano yung tinuro mo sa bata, dadalhin niya yan hanggang sa siya ay lumaki. So, napaka-importante na sa murang edad, kailangan tinitrain talaga natin yung mga bata. We are the foundation, especially yung mga BEd, Bachelor of Elementary Education, no, tayong mga pundasyon kasi hinahawakan natin yung tinuturuan natin mga bata. So dapat sa kanilang murang edad tinuturo na talaga natin yung tama. Tinuturo na natin yung mga good manners, no? Kasi para sa ganun pag lumaki sila ay dala-dala nila yan, hindi nila yan makakalimutan kapag sila ay lumaki. And malaking porsyento, no, ng development ng kanilang character, ng kanilang personality sa taong yon, 1 to 7 years. Kaya dapat sa taong yan talaga na ituturo natin yung wasto, na ituturo natin yung tamang pag-uugali sa mga bata. Okay? So yan po yung sinabi ni John Locke. Okay, sabi niya, he emphasized the freedom, okay? He emphasized the freedom of individuals to author their own soul. Okay. So meron tayong kalayaan para maintindihan ang ating sarili. Okay, we have the freedom to author our own soul. Okay, meaning we are the captain of our own soul. Okay, invictus. All right. Now let's move on to sino naman yung next. Next is okay, sino to? This is René Descartes. Okay, ano ba yung sabi ni René Descartes patungkol sa self? Sabi niya, the self is an immaterial mind and a material body. Naniniwala siya doon sa tinatawag na dualism. Okay, dualism, ibig sabihin dalawa, no? Mind and body. Okay? So the self is an immaterial mind and a material body. So binubuo ng dalawang bahagi ang self. Sabi niya, tinawag niya itong dualism. The self is composed of two parts. We have the body and the mind. The mind, that is yung isip, the seat of consciousness. Ito ang ating kamalayan. Ito ang kakayahan ng tao na mag-isip na walang physical na anyo ang mind. Para sa kanya, ito ang tunay na self. Ito yung tunay na pagkatao. Ito yung pinakasentro ng pagkatao at luklukan ng kamalayan ng tao. That is the mind. Wala itong physical na aspeto. Wala itong physical na anyo. Pag body naman, o yan naman yung katawan, okay, human senses. And sabi niya dito, unreliable. No? So pag sinabing body or human senses, ito yung physical na bahagi natin, ito yung nakakaramdam, ito yung nakakadama, okay? Ito yung meron tayong senses na ginagamit. Pero sabi niya, hindi laging mapagkakatiwalaan ng katawan dahil maaring magkamali ang ating mga pandama. Okay? Maaring magkamali ang ating mga pandama. So we can be deceived by our senses. Okay? So, yes. Yeah. Our senses can be deceived. Sabi din niya, okay, sabi niya, I think, therefore I am. Okay, so siya yung sikat na nagsabi ng statement na to, I think, therefore I am, nangangahulugan na ang kakayahan mong mag-isip ay sapat na para patunayan na nag-i-exist ka. Okay? So, yeah, kapag nag-iisip ka, tiyak na mayroong ikaw. Tiyak na mayroong self na gumagawa nito. Okay? I think, therefore I am. Tingnan mo nga yung katabi mo. Tingnan mo nga yung katabi mo kung nag-iisip yan. Kung nag-iisip yan, ibig sabihin tao yan. O ibig sabihin nag-i-exist yan. Okay? So kung hindi ka nag-iisip, ibig sabihin hindi ka tao. Hindi, joke lang. Kapag ikaw ay nag-iisip, ibig sabihin tao ka. Nag-i-exist ka. Alright? So I think, therefore I am. That is René Descartes. So merong translation yan, no? Sabi niya, cogito ergo sum. Cogito ergo sum, or I think, therefore I am. Okay? Now let's move on to next. Sino naman yung susunod? Yan I see Gilbert Ryle. Okay, Gilbert Ryle. So siya naman yung nagsabi ng the workings of the mind are not distinct from the actions of the body, but are one and the same. Okay, so ano ibig sabihin niyan? Okay, ano pa yung sinabi niya? Gilbert Ryle, our self is not derived from mind and body, but from our behavior in daily activities. I act, therefore I am. So lahat ng bagay o action na ginagawa natin ay produkto lahat yan ng ating iniisip. Okay? Lahat ng ginagawa ng ating katawan ay dahil sa iniisip natin. So kung ano yung nasa isip mo, yun eventually yung nai-act out mo sa labas. Okay? So your character also is defined by the things you do. So kung ano yung kilos na nagagawa mo, yun ka. Okay? Ang bagay na ginagawa natin ay refleksyon ng ating pagkatao. According to Gilbert Blythe, I act, therefore I am. Kung sabi ni Rene, no? Sabi ni Rene Descartes, I think, therefore I am. Sabi naman ni Gilbert Ryle, I act, therefore I am. Okay? Action ang focus kay Gilbert Ryle, pero kay Rene Descartes, isip. Okay? So kay Gilbert Ryle, kapag gumawa ka ng masamang bagay, okay? Okay, now let's move on here. Okay. If someone considers you lovely, it is because you behave well. If someone believes that you are intelligent, it is because you behave intelligent. Okay. Kapag gumawa ka ng isang bagay na masama, no? Kapag pangit yung behavior mo o ugali mo, ibig sabihin masamang tao ka. Kapag gumawa ka ng mabuti o gumawa ka ng maganda, ibig sabihin mabuti ang pagkatao mo. Magandang behavior o ugali mo, no? Kung ano yung ikinikilos mo, ibig sabihin yun ka. Yun ang ugali mo, yun ang character mo, yun ang personality mo. You are defined by your actions according to Gilbert Ryle. Okay, actions speaks louder than words. Behavior equals action equals self. So kung ano yung behavior mo, yun yung nai-act out mo. Ibig sabihin yun ka talaga. That is your true self. Okay, now let's move on to the next page. So ito nga sabi niya, if someone considers you lovely, it is because you behave well. It is because you behave well. If someone believes that you are intelligent, it is because you behave intelligently. Okay, so nagkakaroon ng pagkaunawa sa'yo ang ibang tao base sa kung paano ka mag-behave. Okay, ay, mabait yan. No? Ay, mabait yan. Kasi yun yung behavior na nakikita nila sa'yo. Ay, matalino yan, sabi nila. Kasi yun yung behavior na nakikita nila sa'yo. Okay, so nagbibigay ngayon ng comment ang mga tao base sa kung paano kanila makita. Okay, so base sa kung paano yung kilos na iginagalaw ko. Okay, so now let's review Maurice Merleau-Ponty, Paul Churchland, Immanuel Kant, John Locke, and René Descartes, and Gilbert Ryle. Okay, so now let's have the questions. Okay, sino yung nagsabi ng know thyself? That is Socrates. Okay, know thyself, Socrates. Next, golden mean, sino yan? That is, okay, Aristotle. Sino nagsabi ng our true self is our soul? Our true self is our soul. Sino yung nagsabi? That is Socrates pa rin. Okay? Virtue ethics, who is the father of virtue ethics? That is Aristotle. Okay, next. Being in the world. Okay, sino yan? Si Maurice Merleau-Ponty or Immanuel Kant? That is Maurice Merleau-Ponty. Eliminative materialism. Okay, that is Paul Churchland. Categorical imperative. That is Immanuel Kant. Okay, self has a union between body and mind. That is Maurice Merleau-Ponty. Okay, next. Father of deontology. Okay, of course, yan I see Immanuel Kant. Tabula rasa. Okay, sino to? This is very easy. Okay, si John Locke. Okay, next. I think, therefore I am. Sino yan? Yan I see René Descartes. The concept of the mind, the workings of the mind. That is Gilbert Ryle. Okay, next. Infancy as the foundation of the self. Sinong sabi niyan? Tabula rasa, John Locke, diba? Next, material mind and immaterial body. The self has material mind and immaterial body. Sino yung nagsabi niyan? That is René Descartes. Okay. The self is derived from our behavior and action. Okay, tatandaan natin behavior and action. Sinong sabi niyan? Yan I see. Yung nagsabi ng I act, therefore I am. That is Gilbert Ryle. Okay. Cogito ergo sum. Sino yan? I think, therefore I am. That is René Descartes. Okay. Next, self must have a harmonious relationship with the world. Sinong sabi niyan? That is Maurice Merleau-Ponty. The brain is the true self. Sinong sabi niyan? The brain is true self. Eliminative materialism. That is Paul Churchland. Okay. Transcendental idealism. Okay. Yung nakikita mo sa puno, yun ay hindi mo talaga nauunawaan kung ano yung nangyayari sa pinakamalalim na bahagi ng nature ng punong yon. That is Immanuel Kant. Okay, next, mind and soul are just imaginary. Imaginary lang daw yung mind at yung soul dahil hindi sila nag-exist. Hindi sila totoo. Sinong sabi niyan? Si Paul Churchland. Next, inner self and outer self. Okay, sinong sabi niyan? That is Immanuel Kant. Okay, essay concerning human understanding. This is, okay, si John Locke, tabula rasa. Okay, next, mind organizes experiences. Ang utak ang nag-aayos at nag-organize ng ating mga karanasan. That is Immanuel Kant. Next, there is nothing than a sensory experience. So, importante sa kanya yung tangible, yung nakikita niya, nahahawakan niya. Sino yan? That is Paul Churchland. Okay. So now let's move on to another set of questions. Number one, which philosopher rejected the idea of a Cartesian dualism and argued that the mind should be understood as a function of the body, particularly emphasizing the importance of neuroscientific explanations of consciousness and personal identity? Okay, so ano ba yung word dyan? Isang word lang na nakita mo or makita mo ay masasagot mo na. Okay, so that is the neuroscientific explanation. Neuroscientific is about the brain, okay? Patungkol yan sa utak. So nakafocus yung tanong patungkol sa utak. Neuroscientific explanation of consciousness and personal identity. Our true self is our brain. It's not the mind. That is letter. Is it Maurice Merleau-Ponty, Paul Churchland, Immanuel Kant, John Locke, René Descartes, or Gilbert Ryle? The answer is, of course, Paul Churchland, yan, eliminative materialism. Okay. Next, now let's move on. Which philosopher argued that the self is not a ghost in the machine, but rather a set of behaviors and dispositions, emphasizing that psychological states and the self should be understood through observable actions rather than introspective thoughts? Okay, so isang word lang ulit yung kailangan mong makita dyan at masasagot mo na siya. Sabi niya, the self should be understood through observable actions. Sino yung nagsabi niyan? Maurice Merleau-Ponty, Paul Churchland, Immanuel Kant, John Locke, René Descartes, or Gilbert Ryle? Of course, the correct answer is Gilbert Ryle, no? Ang kung ano yung iniisip mo, yun ang nagmamanifest sa actions, observable actions. And that is the idea of self. I act, therefore I am. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, which philosopher emphasized the self as a thinking subject, famously saying cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am, and regarded the mind as distinct from the body. The mind is distinct from the body. Ang utak ay hiwalay or magkaiba sa katawan. Sino yung nagsabi niyan? Okay, famous line niya, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. Okay, this is very easy. Is it Maurice, Paul, Immanuel, John, Rene, or Gilbert? That is letter E, Gilbert. Letter E, Rene Descartes. Okay, next. Which philosopher argued that the self is primarily a construct of embodied perception, emphasizing that our sense of self emerges through our lived experience and interaction with the world rather than through abstract reasoning or detached reflection? Is it Maurice, Paul, Immanuel, John, Rene, or Gilbert? Okay, ano ba yung makikita natin dito na clue word? Okay, so here, sabi niya, emphasizing that our sense of self emerges through our lived experience. It's not life, it's lived experience and interaction with the world. Okay, with the world. So tatandaan natin, being in the world. Sino yung nagsabi niyan? That is Maurice Merleau-Ponty. Okay, being in the world. Okay, next. Okay, yeah, that's it. So itutuloy natin ito sa susunod na lesson natin. Okay, so next lesson natin, the self from a sociological perspective. So yeah, stay tuned, okay, sa ating YouTube channel because I will post this next time, okay, later on. Okay, so thank you for joining our class today and see you again next time. All right, so bye.